It's Apple Stump Bushcraft Stuffing Things. We're finally back with another MRE review. This time it's 2004 menu, and it's beef ravioli, menu number 3. Inside the bag, we expect to find beef ravioli, cheese spread, vegetable crackers, a fudge brownie, powdered beverage base of some kind or another, accessory packet A, MRE spoon, and a flameless ration heater. Accessory packet A is supposed to contain coffee, sugar, creamer, salt, chewing gum, matches, toilet paper, and a moist towelette. So let's take a look at the outside of the pack. This one is again from the Warnick Company of McAllen, Texas. U.S. government property, commercial resale prohibited. A peelable seal, which is a joke to me because I have no fingernails. So let's get that open and see what's in there. And again, I say a pox on the peelable seal. That should do it. Alright, so we'll remove the bag. And there is all the content. So on top we have the beef ravioli and meat sauce. Packing date of 292nd day of 2004. This has got to be the fudge brownie. It doesn't say it is, but oh yeah, it does. Brownie with chocolate chips. And packing date of 308th day of 2004. Accessory packet A, 321st day of 2004. Crackers. Oops, yep. Vegetable crackers. Don't believe I've seen those before. Might have, because I went through an entire case of these years ago. But anyway, vegetable crackers, 308th day of 2004. MRE spoon, no packing date. We'll set that aside. Use it for something else. Flameless ration heater. The last one of these I tried was a dud, so I'm going to be boiling the retort pouches in water today and not using this, because I'll just soon not open it. But anyway, flameless ration heater. And 309th day of 2004 for the packing date on that. Here's our beverage base. And this one happens to be orange. The orange beverage bases, in my experience, hold up pretty well flavor-wise. This one feels like it's still quite powdery. I feel maybe one little lump in there. And that may have been this foil folded over. And packing date on that will be a little bit more difficult to determine. But here it is, 286th day of 2004 on the beverage base. This is the cheese spread. I don't have very high expectations for this because the cheeses just don't hold up for 13 years. Often, however, these have been stored gently all that time. Haven't been out in the heat or anything, been in a controlled environment. So for 274th day of 2004. And mixed fruit, my goodness. And this is going to be, let's see, I don't know if it's going to be vacuum packed or not. I guess we'll see that. Mixed fruit, peaches, water, diced pears, grapes, corn syrup, pineapple tidbits, sugar, and halved cherries. That means cut in half. Right? Postcard on the back. If you feel like eating this and then sending a card to somebody to tell them how good it was or was not. No packing date on the outer container that I can discern. So, there we have it. And we will Alright, let's get the crackers out and see how they held up. Look at that. Only one little chip. These are vegetable crackers. They smell a little stale-ish, but not bad. Probably going to have a bite or two of that. Beverage base powder. Again, this is allegedly the orange beverage base. And it looks kind of pale orangish. No particular lumps in there that I could see pouring that out into the cup. And we will rehydrate it with cold water. The color isn't exactly the kind of orange that, let's just say, Knee-High or Nesbitt is famous for in the soda pop universe. So I got that going for me, right? Just looking in the cup there and seeing what I can see. And there is an awful lot of undissolved sugar in the bottom of there. I probably put in 8 ounces of water. I diluted down too much and it just doesn't taste that great to begin with. Most of that's dissolved now. We'll set that aside. So the beef ravioli retort pouch. Going to inspect it before we put it in the boiling water, see if there's any pinholes discernible. Smelling it. I don't smell any beef ravioli smell. If it was ever vacuum packed, it's no longer so. We'll get a little brighter light on there and see if we can see any pinholes. It may be that this was just tightly packed. See if there's any separation discernible on the envelope before I put it in the hot water. So we're going to boil it for about 15 minutes. Anyway, that's the beef ravioli in meat sauce retort pouch. Here's the mixed fruit. And we'll give that a quick look as well. Not going to boil this one, probably just going to eat it right out of the pouch. Envelope looks intact. I'm not going to open this cheese until I have a chance to knead it really well. So we'll open the brownie. Shelf-stable packing with the oxygen absorber. I don't know if you can see that. Oops, breaking apart in my hand. The last one I had did that as well. Pretty sparkly on the top there. That's sugar granules, I'm quite sure. We're going to take a minute or two and knead the cheese spread. This is just regular fortified, probably cheddar or something close to that. No jalapenos in there. My friend Pauly over in Britain would see jalapeno cheese spread and go, hell no! But this is regular, so we'll see how it looks when it comes out of the pouch. So the retort pouch is in the water and it's not hot yet, but we are going to open up the accessory pack A and verify the contents. Lighthouse toilet tissue, a wet nap or a moist towelette, iodized salt, packet of sugar, 4 grams, Non-dairy creamer, feels nice and powdery. Taster's Choice, 1 serving of freeze-dried coffee. The ubiquitous MRE matches. White tip. And last but not least, 2 pieces of chewing gum. They look to be in pretty good shape, nice and shiny on the outside. And so that is it for that. So we're going to knead this cheese for a minute or so. And try to disperse all the oils and cheese matter. I guess is the best phrase for that stuff, cheese matter, like brain matter. We'll get some cheese matter and kind of dispense it out onto some of that vegetable cracker and give it a shot, see what it tastes like. Alright, probably been kneading this for a full minute. And it's feeling kind of uniform in there and not nearly as stiff and congealed as it did initially. So we're going to take a cracker and break off a piece of it. Maybe even a smaller piece than that. There we go. Look at that. That'll work. Let's see what the cheese has to say in its own defense here. Well, it's looking kind of yellow from what I see on the knife blade. Let's give it a shot. Make a little close up here. That doesn't look so bad. It's clearly not brown, it's yellow. Smells kind of cheesy. Alright, down the hatch. Well, that tastes pretty good actually. The cheese tastes better than the cracker does. I wouldn't say the cracker's rancid, but you can tell it's been in there a while, been in that package. But when you get the cheese on top of it, I have to say that it's not bad. I wouldn't pass this up if I were out on a hunting trip or in camp, and this is what there was to eat. Even after 14 years, I'd go ahead and eat this. And I am going to go ahead and eat it. At least for that piece anyway. I believe I'm going to even have a little bit more of that because it is pretty good, all things considered. Not bad. Wash that down with a little bit of our orange beverage base, and it looks like all the sugar is dissolved now. I wouldn't want to have diluted that anymore. That's just about right, actually. Alright, let's try a little corner of this brownie. That little corner that broke off. So it tastes pretty typical of the MRE fudge brownies I've come across in this 2004 menu series. There's a slight smoothness to the interior once you get chewing on it. The granules of sugar come through in a very subtle kind of graininess that goes away really quick, and it's actually quite good, but it comes apart very easily. I can even see the granularity inside of there a little bit. You see it sparkle. It doesn't come across as rancid or stale or off-putting in any way. Quite good actually. Not an overpowering chocolate flavor, but definitely a good, familiar taste of home possibly. It's not quite like a homemade brownie, but it's not like a store-bought one either. It's supposed to actually be chocolate chips in there, and I think there's one right there. Nope, that's a hole. Never mind. Well, they're probably in there. Let's give it a little extra light and see. Now here you can see how it sparkles all the way through. See that? Just like it's peppered with fool's gold or mica or something. There's sugar all the way in there. I don't see any chocolate chips. Oh, yes, I do. All right, one right there. Well, that's tasty. Gotta give the devil his due on that one. Next up will be the fruit cocktail, or whatever that is. Mixed fruit. So I moved some of the things out of the way here so I can put the fruit in there. Let's kind of mash it down and... Oh, it hissed. Air going in and not out. Okay. First impression, I'll let you decide. It doesn't look bad. For a 14-year-old fruit cocktail, essentially. There's still some actual colors in there. I think I see some peaches and some other stuff. It does have a brownish tint to it. I was thinking about eating it right out of the pouch, but I think it plays better. To the camera anyway, to scoop it out of there. And there's a little piece of cherry. Hardly a half of a cherry, that's just a fragment of the outside of one. There's another one. So it said there was cherry halves, H-A-L-V-E-S, in there. So right away I see 3 fragments of what probably is cherry. We'll take a bite of that in just a minute. So there's a little bit of residue left in that retort pouch. And what I'm going to do is give it a smell. And I can smell apples in there. And I don't smell anything foul. The vacuum packaging was intact when I opened it, and there was a little bit of a hiss as the air went in when I tore the envelope. So I think I'll be pretty safe in having at least a taste of that without worrying too much about botulism. Alright? So let's give it a try and see what goes. There's a little piece of cherry in there. So it's kind of tart, a little bit sweet, and appley for sure. It tastes a lot like apple. How does it compare with fruit cocktail right out of a can? Pretty favorably, I'd say. It's not that bad. Again, all things being equal and it not being infected with botulism or something, I'd have to say that that's edible. Don't know that I'll eat it though, but I did taste it. And it was okay, it tasted fine. I'm going to have a little bit more of the cheese spread. Another chunk of cracker, I think. Plus I got it all over my fingers. There we go, last one I think. Here's to your good health. And I'll have another little piece of this brownie. Can't resist. Apart from being very crumbly, it tastes great. It's very good. And we'll give that beef ravioli a while to heat up and be back at you when it's time to open that. So we got about 5 minutes left to go before the beef ravioli is finished cooking. I put it on a slow boil, almost no boil, because I don't want the envelope to become compromised from steam inside the package, blasting its way out. Speaking of blasting, my friend Pauly over in the UK has some Airsoft pistols, and this is mine, with says Taurus on it. I'm not sure exactly which model it is supposed to be. I don't have the original box anymore. Shed a little light on the subject here. Made in Taiwan, and it has a serial number on it. 3-dot sight, pretty nice. And the top slide is made out of some kind of metal. It feels like metal anyway. Some of these controls feel like metal. The bottom part is definitely plastic. So, a friend of mine, rest his soul, passed away about 2 years ago last week, but he gave me this laser while he was still alive, and we were spending quite a bit of time together. And there it is right there. Oh yeah. Oh, look at that. Hope I didn't ruin my CCD with that. But anyway, it's a pretty nice red dot laser. I have it sighted in for about 25 feet, and it's very accurate. This particular model is CO2 powered. I'm not going to shoot it in the house, but the magazine comes out. Oop, turn the laser on. And you can see we've got airsoft pellets in there. These happen to be the 0.20 gram pellets, and they're biodegradable. When they hit something hard, they turn into powder and go away. And I've dropped some of them into water before, and they do break down. Within half an hour or so, they start to break down. So I'm fairly well convinced of the biodegradable aspect of it. It holds about 15 or so. You can see how it do that. CO2 is housed in the bottom and accessed by a pretty stout Allen wrench. I'm not going to take it out of there because it's a fairly new CO2 cartridge. It's got a manual safety right here, and that does work. It takes the 12 gram CO2 cartridge. This is a new one, and I keep that in the carrier for the gun. And here's a few extra biodegradable airsoft pellets. I have another box of those, or another container full of them where I keep such things. So this is, anyway, it's a very nice little pistol. I tend to take the batteries out of the laser when I'm not using it because the switch is so sensitive. It takes very little finger pressure at all to turn it on. And so I tend to be rather judicious about it. Turns off from the other side. Well, anyway, that's my airsoft gun. Pauly, if you're watching, I told you I'd show you that sometime. What I intend to do is, one of these days, is head out to the outdoor range and shoot this over a chronograph with a brand new CO2 cartridge in it and see how fast they go. I know it's capable of taking small game, maybe not small game, but pests anyway, mice, things like that, because guess what? I've done it. So, but on larger animals like raccoons, which I've had to scare away from the backyard a number of times, they come in to eat the pet food out on the back porch. It's just an annoyance to them. But to pesticize animals like mice and so forth at a fairly reasonable distance of 15 to 20 feet, it will take them out. So I suspect that those pellets are coming out of there at 200-300 feet per second, something like that, maybe a little faster. But anyway, that's my airsoft pistol. And I'm going to take the laser off and store it again, and we'll get back with you with the beef ravioli. Okay, here comes the massive ravioli retort pouch, and it is smoking hot right out of the hot water. And we'll see what it looks like. So when I took it out of the boiling water, which was gently boiling, and I handle it by the edges because it's very hot, I sniff tested it and looked for pinholes again, and not finding any. I think we'll go ahead and open it. So we'll kind of squeeze the contents down past that first line, that first tear notch. And I'm going to go to cut it. Oh boy, it actually doesn't look bad. Yow. Give you a look inside the envelope. And there's actually, it looks like there's chunks of beef in there and the ravioli. So let's get it out on the tray here. Ow. When you hear me say that this stuff is hot, you can believe it. I can barely hang on to this. Ah, man. Barely hang on to this retort pouch as I... Whoa! Try to get the contents out onto the tray here. We're going to have to call that good. Alright, looks pretty beefy to me. Let's give it a taste. Okay, I'll give you a little close-up on the meat here. I don't know if the raviolis are actually stuffed with beef or if this beef is separate, but there it is. Look at that. Have some. Yum. Alright, we're going to go ahead and try that. So the beef is kind of the texture of chili meat that you might encounter in a can of chili con carne, possibly. It's hamburger sort of formed into little chunks, like that. Probably extruded that way. And as for the pasta, I don't know if they're filled with meat or not. The tomatoey flavor comes through. It's not overwhelming. It's not like having a spoonful of ketchup. But it definitely is a spaghetti-like red sauce, a marinara kind of sauce. And it's not bad. Let's try the pasta, see what goes. That's not bad at all. So I'm going to try to cut one in half here and we'll see if there's actually any meat inside of them. There's something inside of them. It has the texture of cheese though, not meat. So let's take a look. Guess what? It's meat. See if I can get that where you can see it. Okay. Take a look inside of there, and that dark part is actually meat, but it's kind of pasty. It's not chunky like the meat on the outside was, but it's definitely meat. And that is pretty good stuff. I can't believe that that's been sealed in that envelope for 13 years. Amazing. This has been a review of the 2004 menu number 3 beef ravioli and sauce, and pretty darn good for being that old. I'd say, if I didn't know any better, that came out of a can of Chef Boyardee or some other kind of canned ravioli and was well within its service life had it come from a can. I don't taste anything foul with that whatsoever. Apple Stump Bushcraft Stuff and Things. We'll see you next time. Until then, stay safe, have fun. Cheerio.